All right, so it is my pleasure to introduce the next conversation. Meet these LGBTQIA plus Black founders. I'm gonna say that again because I wanna praise you all for being here today and sharing knowledge. Meet these LGBTQIA plus Black founders. First up, we have Chris Witherspoon. Chris Witherspoon is an entertainment journalist, producer, and entrepreneur with the signature accessible approach to media and culture. He is currently the founder and CEO of PopViewers, the platform that helps you find what to watch next, invites you to react to the TV and movies you've watched, and encourages you to share the experience with fellow content lovers. It's Witherspoon's love letter to media correspondence. Chris served as an entertainment correspondent for Fandango and CNN, and was the entertainment editor for NBC's thegrio.com. He still regularly appears on MSNBC Today, The Wendy Williams Show, the NBC's Nightly News, and has interviewed the likes of Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, Oprah Winfrey, Will Smith, Viola Davis, Queen Viola Davis, Hugh Jackman, Denzel Washington, Harrison Ford, and Kerry Washington. So welcome, Chris. Joining Chris in conversation. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. What you need to say something?
Nothing. Thank you for having me. And I need all my introductions in life to be done by you. Period.
Oh, okay? We can talk.
Moving forward.
Let's talk. All right. No, seriously, I'll write you. All right. So joining Chris in conversation, I'm happy to introduce Braxton T Fleming, who is a practical nurse. He is also the CEO and founder of Stealth Brothers & Co., a luxury DOP kit supply company that provides travel and at-home personal storage for hormone replacement therapy and other medical necessities. He is also changing the industry in making Sharps containers more unique so the people who use them every day don't feel so hospitalized. Starting in 2017 from his room to create a way to become a part of the transgender community and help raise money for his own top surgery. Stealth Brothers & Co. continues to grow and serve the transgender and allied communities. He even offers a support fund for those in the LGBTQ plus community in need, and his company is a proud certified LGBTQ plus business enterprise of NGLCC. By sharing his experiences, Braxton hopes to inspire other trans people on their journeys and to fill a gap in representation of trans people of color. So welcome, welcome, welcome. These two brilliant minds will be joined by our assistant project manager, Leandro, who is moderating this conversation. I'm gonna pass the mic to y'all. I'm gonna take my notes out, and I just look forward to this conversation. So thank you all so much.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Mariela. So happy to be here. We have been learning a lot for the last couple of days with the contents, with all of the knowledge that the speaker has been sharing with us. So it's really a pleasure to be here with you both. So welcome you. We are really honored to have you here. So believing in storytelling, what don't you introduce yourself to us, to our community that is here watching the summit and that is going to be reconnecting with us after with the video and recording. So Chris, why don't you go first and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit more about you, your story, your businesses.
Thank you. Thank you first off for having me here. This is such a huge honor. And I just love the energy on this panel conversation already, and the conference that's happening. It's so rare as a Black gay founder, I get to be in spaces like this where I can bring all of me, bring all of my story, what I've learned, obstacles that I've overcome. And I'm excited to hear Braxton's story as well, because I'm a fan from afar now of Braxton as well. But my story, I've been working in media for many years. I was in the NBC Page program. I got to work for two powerful executives at NBC who were all up in the news last week. Jeff Zucker, who was the CEO of NBC Universal, and Allison Gullis. You can Google them and hear about the news that happened last week. A long story there, but I got to work for very powerful people in media as an assistant, and I wound up in 2011 becoming a journalist, kind of going from the desk, answering the phone, ordering the cars, booking private planes for the CEO, to working for a startup within NBC News called thegrio.com. The Grio is an African-American news website. I started working there in 2011 and really began to cover entertainment content through the Black lens. So I was always the one raising my hand in the majority white newsroom saying, oh, here's a story that's happening on this Black website that I'm a part of that should be told on the Today Show or on MSNBC. Or featured more broadly within NBC News. What I began to see happen was that our stories, the Black stories, began to really resonate. In 2012, Black Twitter became a really big thing where you had people They were activists, kind of rallying behind stories like Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, and we were seeing change on the other side of it. I was heavily involved in Oscars So White. I worked closely to kind of, within the newsroom, tell that story and really make Hollywood accountable for telling stories and making movies with more diversity and inclusion. And this morning we had the Oscars announced. They are very diverse. We have some great moments there. But I wound up, I kept working in media, and what I began to realize is that we still within the media have a hard time showcasing what viewers feel about content. You can find out how many millions of folks watch something. You can find out what critics thought about something, a movie or a TV show, but we still don't have a way of quantifying viewer sentiment in a cool, fun way. So I created PopViewers. We launched the company about a year ago. It's an app that you can download in the Apple App Store, hence the background behind me, PopViewers. And the whole idea is it's a social community around content. You can swipe on movies and shows. The more you swipe, the more we learn about you. Just like dates on Tinder, we can find content just for you. We're going to keep enhancing that. And you can leave a reaction, a GIF, a meme, a video of what you just felt or what you felt after you watched something. And we can analyze those videos in real time and have sentiment reports that we can use in the media. So the goal of PopViewers has always been to amplify the voices of real audiences. And as a Black gay founder of a tech company, I'm intentionally trying to grow this community with diverse users that reflect the country and the world. That's me in a nutshell. Thank you again for having me.
No, absolutely. Loving everything that you are sharing with us already. Talking about, visibility, representation, and how everything matters and how you are approaching all of this important topic is really interesting. So just before we deep dive into the question, Braxton, your time to present yourself.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. First and foremost, I always love to give gratitude to the Most High, because 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would have never thought that I'd be able to be on this stage to say, hey, I'm a Black transgender founder, of this business. So I'm really grateful to be here. Just a little bit about me is 5 years ago, I actually decided to transition and become female to male. And it was a really, really hard time in my life at that time, because I was lost. I didn't know anything about transgender individuals. I lived a very fortunate life where it was very diverse. So people around me were gay, lesbian, trans, and I didn't even realize. I was just living this life and hanging out with people and moving forward. And then once I realized that, hey, look, I started to connect with transgender individuals, I decided to say, this is me, this is my life, this is what I've been missing. And on that journey, I was just immersed in the community. And the more immersed I got, I started to realize that there was a void in that community. And that's where Stealth Bros came in. And I realized that as a licensed practical nurse also, sorry, I want to back it up there, but for the past 12 years, I've been a licensed practical nurse. So it was around 7 years at the time. So I was making assessments on people without even realizing it. And then once I made that connection saying, hey, I can be part of this community and really build something, that's when I started to push Stealth Bros. And that's pretty much what got me here today. So it's really crazy how I even stumbled upon this journey and just entered into the NGLCC and had all these opportunities. I really just think it's part of my life's path. It's, everyone always says, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? I'm just living my life being me. And it just put me on this great path to Stealth Bros be part of this huge community. So grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Living your singularity at the most. And it's really incredible because we're not just talking about businesses, we're talking about our identities immersed on everything that we are doing. So it's really interesting just to go through that. I have here one of the pre-submitted questions that I just wanted to read you, just to be very specific.
Yes.
Deciding to start your own company requires an immense amount of tenacity. Chris, what ultimately led you to quit your corporate job and start your own company first?
I think that I felt like it was a calling that I had. One, I saw a problem. I saw a major problem. One of the problems that I saw was I get to go, and I still do get to go see a lot of movies and TV shows well before the public sees them. just like to review them, to talk about them. And when I go to these screenings, I would always sit up close. It's like my thing since being a kid, I want to be up close to the screen. I would look behind me and I'd see a sea or a room full of white men, primarily white men. And the reality is the major critic groups in Hollywood, the people that decide what gets greenlit, what doesn't get greenlit, are still predominantly cisgendered straight white men. So I realized that we have a problem in my industry with pointing to what's really working with audiences and with viewers. And I really felt like, as someone who's covered this for so many years, I was uniquely positioned to help solve this problem. Do I know how to do tech and build tech companies? No, but I went and found some people to be on my team that I really admired, that had built product before, that had scaled tech companies in the past. And I said, listen, this is what I don't know. Here's what I do know. And I'd love for you to come with me and be on this journey. And I don't have an example of a Black gay man in tech to look up to. What someone told me when I was in high school, and I'll never forget, and I hope you take it with you. She said, when I was going to college, this woman at church, if you don't see the example, be the example. And so I feel like we might not be able to point to people that are doing what we think we want to do, but it's okay. Get out there and be the example. Fall, get back up, learn as you go, but be inspired. And most importantly, I've been inspired to help solve this problem.
Awesome. So inspiring just to hear you and everything that you are saying. I want to ask you a million questions, but we'll move to the next one and then we'll go back to this because I was just taking notes. So Braxton, what inspired you to dive right into entrepreneurship? Just connecting, your identity, your story with your businesses.
I think it was a process, like I mentioned before. I think it was my life's path. I actually have 2 entrepreneurial parents, so I just had that entrepreneurial drive within me. And then just having my transition in my community, I really wanted to be a part of my community because I felt so connected. And once realizing that I was trans, I said, what can I do to give back to these people? And that's really what pushed me, all at the same time with needing the money for my top surgery, seeing other transgender individuals online, creating, t-shirt brands and hat brands and just supporting each other wholeheartedly like a family. I wanted to be part of that and grow with them. And I knew that creating something innovative needed to happen. I didn't want to go in with another t-shirt brand or hat brand to step on, another brother's toes or anything like that. I wanted to go in and work with people. And I knew that creating Stealth Bros and diving into that would help bring that community even closer. And that's exactly what it did. So that's kind of what pushed me into this entrepreneurial journey, is just really my life's path, my transition, and my community.
Loving to hear that. And if we talk about you being founders today, right? What about the ecosystem of Black LGBTQI plus founders that you connect with? How do you see? Because sometimes we perceive, and we see ourselves, and it's great what we are seeing, but how we connect and how do you connect? Where do you connect and get inspired?
Yeah, I can jump in there and say that I have a lot of great friends around me. I have a great circle of people that are of color and that are part of the gay community, that are my friends, that inspire me, that show me that I can be that I deserve to be the CEO of this company. I think sometimes when you are Black, you deal with imposter syndrome when you're a leader. I deal with it. And being Black and gay, I dually deal with it. I'm really honored to be a father. I have a 10-year-old son. His mother's lesbian. She's my best friend. We had a kid together. We went half on a baby 10 years ago. And I think he's my biggest source of inspiration. Kids don't look at what you can't do. They just do it. They get up and they do it, and they believe that they can scale any mountain. And if they're inspired, they make it happen. So for me, I've been able to have my child, and most importantly, my network of friends and a few mentors as well that have really inspired me.
Likewise. I feel the same way. I feel like being part of NGLCC has really been, the forefront. And, with just with being Black and trans, a lot of people always ask me, the discrimination and, how do I move about and things like that. But I'm a very turning negative into a positive. If people look at that as a negative, I always look at myself as a positive. I never look at myself being Black and trans saying, oh my God, I have to walk into this room of, white cis gay men, because that happens a lot at NGLCC too. But I know that I'm a token in that room. And as long as I think of myself like that, I present that energy. So whatever room I walk into, I'm not even thinking about, oh, are they judging me because I'm trans or I'm Black? I'm bringing the heat because I know that my product and I know that my business is successful and needed. So that's pretty much what I try to rely on. But, NGLCC has been like a really big family to me, and it's so diverse with so many different people. And that has really been, I want to say, like my backbone for my mentorship programs through ENY, through CVS Health, Boston Scientific Company, Kellogg Company. Those are just a few, even Bristol Myers Squibb. I have mentors through them. So it's like, I have a family behind me of LGBTQIA people. And, I'm just very fortunate to be in a position I am to have all the mentorship. And it's really important to immerse yourself in these, business of commerce so that you can build that family as well for your business and for the things that you're involved in.
Absolutely. And everything that you both are saying has to do with leadership and stepping out and just, like we are here, this is our voice, this is our business. And I think that it's impacting in a lot of people, millions of people, and it's really amazing to hear that. We have one question here that was related to just what you were saying, but just to go a little bit deep on this one, that it says, are there any particular values, support system, or strategies that empower you stepping into these leadership roles, like seeing yourself as a leader? What can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think for me, just again, allowing myself to be the example, giving myself permission to be me. Braxton made a really great point that when he walks into those rooms, he is like, okay, all eyes on me. This is my moment. And I believe that, throughout my career, oftentimes being the one Black guy at the table, at different companies that I've worked for, like NBC Universal, et cetera, where I had an amazing experience, I definitely battled code switching, which is when you get into the space and you try to be like everyone else. And also just this syndrome that I would almost call being happy to be here syndrome, where you're just happy to be at the table. You kind of say the things that you feel won't ruffle the waters too much, but you contribute and you allow yourself to kind of be that token representation of your community. And I believe what's helped me the most is recognizing I have something that I'm uniquely positioned to say and to offer. And I have to bring all of me to the room. I have to bring the CEO founder. I got to bring the Black guy, because that's who I am. I am unapologetically Black. I got to bring the gay guy. I got to bring the dad, and I got to treat them all equally as though they deserve to be there. And so often, when you're going and asking folks for money or you're pitching, we're taught to be very rigid and corporate and go by a script. That's the worst thing you can do, because people invest in people. And I've kind of been able to see that the more I'm myself, that's when I fly. That's when I'm like, I'm the conductor and I'm kind of commanding the room. It's an amazing feeling. And it's also the hardest thing to do. Get out of my head and just be me.
Seriously, absolutely. I agree. I second everything you just said. I mean, you seriously have to just like you said, like the imposter syndrome. And I feel like the first year of like really trying to get into different rooms, I feel like I felt that, you know what I mean? But as I realized that, hey, look, these people want me in this room and I'm going to come as I am. And as I started showing up more as myself and just being authentic, even through like social medias and different outside of the corporate world, when you show up authentically and genuinely, people respond to that and they like that. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see, a whole made up face. They want to know how you made that face up. They want to know what is behind that. And, that's what I try to bring when, I enter those types of rooms. I just try to bring who I am exactly and, and why I'm there. So I second everything you said, Chris, and respect that.
Yes, great. And I mean, it's deep, because when we talk about imposter syndrome and like not feeling that we are enough or this is our space, it's really just to remind ourselves that yes, validate ourselves. It's really and then how you both work and talk around like personal branding and having the tools to keep discovering yourself through your businesses is really interesting. If we have to talk like just to go to from another side of the conversation about discrimination wise, all the way while you were creating your businesses and what you are trying to fight and what you are doing, right? So if we talk about discrimination, what can you tell us a little bit more about that? What do you faced on the process of creating your business? And also, what allies supports you all the way?
I don't know if Braxton, you want to jump in this, or I can take it first.
Yeah, you can go ahead, go for it.
No, I think that again, it's coming to these rooms where, Braxton, you can probably attest to this. When we're pitching, asking for money or asking for partnerships, you're oftentimes pitching to a room of white men, maybe one or two women, primarily white, who went to Ivy League colleges, like Stanford or Yale or Harvard, and they're business people. And as much as so many companies say they want to invest in Black-owned businesses and LGBTQIA businesses, they oftentimes want you to still fit that sort of narrow lens of what they believe, the sort of pattern matching that exists of what a founder is, Mark Zuckerberg or the founders of Snapchat or any of the folks that have been able to create something and very, very, very quickly scale it. They want you to be that. So I think, I wouldn't say discrimination, it's more of a disconnect that I feel that I have to allow myself to say, okay, Chris, this is real. This is happening right now. Again, you have to be you. You have to allow yourself to be you. Because I think for me, I've experienced that a lot of my career. I think anyone who's on this, conference should play this fun game that I've done with myself, where I went through all the jobs that I've had since being 16, starting at McDonald's, then working at Old Navy. And I tried to see where I wrote down all my bosses who I reported to. And then I tried to put stars by who was of color, who was Black, who was LGBTQIA. And those stars are very minimal. I think most people very rarely have had leadership examples. Most C-suite executives can't say they report to a Black person or to a queer person or a gay person. So we have to fix that as we begin to empower founders like Braxton and myself to be CEOs and leaders, scale their businesses and bring in investments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I agree to that as well. And I also just, like I stated before, with as far as like the level of discrimination, for me, because I'm a new business owner, I just started this in 2017 and I'm really just getting my feet wet these past 2 years. And, I personally, have I been discriminated against? I don't know. And if I have, I'm not worried about it because all I'm focused on is moving forward and doing the best for my business. So if it's happened, it happened and I didn't even know, because I try to stay so focused. I know that it does happen, but I can't allow that to weigh on my mind because your thoughts do become reality. And if I'm sitting there thinking they're just worried about me being Black, they're just worried about me being trans, then guess what? Their energy is going to focus on that. And I don't want to project that. I want to project happiness. I want to project that this is a multi-million-dollar company. I want to project that I can walk into this room. I want to project that I am going to bring my people with me. So all of those things I try to move forward with. I really try to stay away from discrimination to even that word at all. I just pretty much dismiss it out of my mind when I'm entering into any room, even, like again, being present on social media. I just try to move as I'm supposed to move. I'm a human being and I'm here and I'm making a statement and that's it. You know what I mean? And if someone's discriminating me, I don't even know it because they're respecting me to my face. And that's all I really care about. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to move forward with my business and be the best that I can be. I really try not to worry about the negative stuff.
And I want to jump in really fast to add to what Braxton said. I really feel like he represents, I represent, and so many people that are part of the LGBTQ plus community that are trying to be leaders we represent what I believe is a part of the new majority. You turn on your TV right now and you watch commercials and you look at the money that these big companies are spending to get it right, to bring diversity, I've seen so many same-sex couples featured in commercials lately. We represent what I believe is the future of what consumers want to see, and want to see major corporations represent not just, out front, but also within the boardroom. So again, we have to get out of our heads and not allow ourselves to even think about discrimination. Just do what we're called to do.
Absolutely. Agreed. You said that very well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it has to do with, working culture and where we're going into the future, like future generation. Language is changing. The whole learning process and you being visible as an example of, success, but also on keep building new ideas and businesses. It's really interesting. So I just wanted to praise and thanks for your visibility and for being here talking with us today. So just another question. What is your advice to Black LGBTQIA plus entrepreneurs who are struggling to embrace themselves? Like hearing you today being so strong and out there and succeeding, what advice can you give to some other entrepreneurs that might be watching us today?
Yeah, I can just say, bring all of who you are into the rooms that you walk into.
Absolutely.
Every single person who's written a check for me, to PopViewers, my company, has said the same thing to me. And it's so crazy because a lot of them didn't know each other before they said this. But they said, Chris, I like the idea of what you're doing. I think you're going to be successful. I might not get it all the way, but I'm betting on you. So I think it's truly important. People have to know who you are. What's your story? Tell them a story. Let them know about your childhood. When you're someone of color, chances are you got some stories. You've been through some things. Your parents have been through some things. Your granny and them been through some things. Bring those stories into the room because people bet on folks who are resilient, who know how to get knocked down and get back up. Don't try to come and tell them the PC great story you told all your friends in college. Tell them the real, and also let them know why you're uniquely positioned to solve this problem. But most importantly, bring all of you to the room because people will go to bed and wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna bet on that Braxton because Braxton's been through some stuff and is used to dealing with failure and rising above it. And that has been my story. My family at one point when I was 17 years old, I was evicted for the third time being evicted. We were homeless for 6 months. I was very ashamed of that growing up. But now I realize that's a story of resilience, losing all the things that I ever had as a kid, but still being able to come on this Zoom and smile. People need to know that story. And those are the kind of stories that I believe help them bet on you and want to be in business with you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I attest to that and I agree to that. And one other thing that I would add before we wrap this up is that, the best advice that I have to, especially the youth of Black LGBT, anybody, entrepreneurs, anybody, is the thing that helped me the most is mirror talk. I call it mirror talk. Okay. And I go in the mirror, I look at myself in the face and I say, look, you did it. This is you. You got this. You deserve to be here. You are going to take over. You will be that multimillionaire. You will have this. You will do that. And everyone is going to accept you because you are special. And talk to yourself. Talk yourself into it. Tell yourself where you're going, who you want to be. Because if you believe it, everyone around you is going to believe it. And you have to exude that energy out. So that is what I would give to my Black peeps, is that I would say, put it out there, really, really believe in yourself, meditate, thank God, universe, whoever you pray to, and just keep pushing every single day. Consistency is key.
What an amazing way to finish this up and wrap up this conversation, feeling energized and motivated. Where can we find you for our audience and community to reach on your platforms? Just tell us.
You guys can download PopViewers. We're in the Apple App Store. Follow us on all social media at PopViewers. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Chris Witherspoon or at WitherspoonC. And I look forward to engaging with you.
Awesome.